Hey, I'm sorry. I just had to take my safety off. Just had a line there in case something on the train come through. And I'm now sitting only on the God line. So first responders are here. I'm now live. The only thing keeping me from falling is that line. And so I'm Greg Rolls. I'm really sorry for the cutting out. I know one video is better for you all and for me. But until I perfect this thing, like the younger folk can do, just have to make do with what you got. So sorry everyone out there who's watching and anticipating and expecting more tech savvy stuff, but this is all I got. So first responders are here. I'm perched in a tree on unceded lands that still belong to the First Nation people here, and I'm here trying to practice the real law, yeah? The law of this country that was an agreement between the creators of this country and the people who lived on it for countless generations. The law of this country is you will protect country, yeah? I don't know the laws of the stories, I don't know the rules, but I know how it works. Country gives you everything you need, and you will look after country. That means living in harmony with one another. So whatever other law has been imposed by the colonial state is invalid. Whatever other law, if I turn you around, I can sit you in my pocket and you can have a nice view of the place. Don't know if we can see anything, sorry, just need a snack. So it's been a long day, but if we don't get in the way and resist climate collapse, it's going to be even longer days ahead, friends. We are 1 minute to midnight. Climate collapse is upon us, and we can't keep taking coal out of the ground. We've known it for decades. BP, Shell, fossil fuel companies knew it for a long time. The Australian government has known about climate collapse for a long time. Problem is people don't want to act. It's easy to make money, destroy a country which, you know, looks after us. And so we get to a point where people like me have to come out in the middle of the night and block the only rail line entry into the world's largest coal port. And so I'm currently up a tree in a platform in the middle of the night. I'm 39. I think, to answer your question, I have been up here for going on 90 minutes now. It's about an hour and a half. And we're just seeing had a few first responders a while ago, but just seeing a crew come. And if any of those crew over there who are watching, I think we should go and arrest the real climate criminals. I'm just trying to protect country here, protect law. Because country protects me. So we have to do our best to look after country. And that means sometimes getting in the way of the state, which continues to exploit resources just for the financial gains of a few. So I'm using non-violent direct action. I'm a big believer in non-violence, which means we need to meet the needs of many. Everyone's needs should be met. And there's plenty on this earth for everyone to have the needs met. And not just the bank accounts of a few. I say as I shove a vegan protein bar in my face. But I'm doing my best to use what I have to protect others who can't. Who've been exploited, who've been stolen from for the last 200 plus years. Somewhere along the line, we forgot where we're from and what supports us. And if we don't quickly remember, what supports us will no longer be able to. So that's what we need to look after. And that's what I'm doing here. So you can see the show's lighting up now. There's lots of people here and hopefully they're interested in protecting our welfare too. Hopefully the state apparatus, which is currently being used to kill us and send us into a death spiral of climate collapse, can be changed by the people within it. That's me, that's you, to enforce laws which actually protect the country. Because if we don't force that change, we're all going to die. You will live to see it. Your children are seeing it. For many millions of people around the world, they're already seeing it. People who did the least to cause the climate collapse in Bangladesh are already suffering from it. And if we don't get in the way of this thing, if we don't use non-violent direct action to slow down the extraction, to cost them enough money that we force negotiations and force change, we're all going to perish. This rail corridor is the only corridor taking coal into the world's largest coal port. It comes off country west of here, and for the last 12 hours we've blockaded it, 4 of us. Emma, John, Sergio and myself have blockaded this. And we're going to keep coming back, we're going to keep getting in the way of this thing, because we have to protect country. Because it protects us. The UN reported, just before the recent so-called climate conference, that over the next 14 years, the so-called developed world, what I like to call the minority world, the Western countries, are going to double their amount of exports of fossil fuels. There is no plan from those in charge. There is no plan from the leaders to save us from this climate collapse. The only plan they have is to make as much as they can while the fossil fuel sun is still shining. And if you and I don't get in the way of that, we're going to face massive ecological collapse. We need as many people as possible working full time on resisting the death urge that exists in our society. And change for those in power, in order to save lives, is going to take work, community and sacrifice. These are not easy things, any of them. You know, working for something that doesn't personally profit you. Community is hard work because you have to think of others before yourself. And sacrifice. As I was saying before, I identify as a Christian. I try to follow in the way of Jesus, to lend my voice to those who are oppressed, which includes our ecological neighbours, those in the majority world who are already living under the heel of climate collapse. Shout out to my siblings, brothers, sisters and others living in the Pacific Islands. We're doing our best to be with you. Thank you for fighting for us. And Jesus took it to the state. I mean, this is why Jesus' story is so popular. I know some people think it's a story and was made up, and maybe it was. I think that's not the point. The point is, he saw something really bad happening to people around him, and even to country around him. And he gained influence by speaking truth. And after he gained enough influence and people started listening, they killed him in the most painful way known. So next to that kind of sacrifice, we got it pretty easy. Thanks to the sacrifice of First Nations people who've... I keep touching the screen accidentally. Jesus was an awesome activist. So I'm a Quaker. I belong to the Religious Society of Friends. And we like to listen to Spirit to guide us, you know? And sometimes that can take you to climbing a tree in the middle of the night. And we have to listen to that voice within us, whatever you call it. I'm not here to preach and join my religion. The only religion I want us to all be part of is love. And love, as we all know from our own relationships, isn't feel-good, lovey-dovey Hollywood movie stuff. It's work and sacrifice and communication. And as we face the cliff of the big death knell that is climate collapse and the next great extinction that we've brought upon ourselves, that the rich elite colonial state has brought upon all of us, we have to love harder. We have to love harder than we have anywhere in human history, because it's all we've got left. Love, and we have to embody that love in the form of sacrifice. We have to embody that love in the form. That's what non-violence is. You know, you look at the great practitioners of non-violence on this continent too. We all love to talk about the Black Rights movement in the United States, and everyone knows about the Salt March and Gandhi, but this history that's on this continent, and I'm talking about the Tent Embassy, I'm talking about people laying down their tents, laying down their swags from Little Things Big Things Grow, and refusing to work. It has a big history on this continent. And I'm a history teacher, and I didn't know that until after I finished teaching full-time, because we don't teach it. We don't talk about it in our schools because we don't want people to know about it. And that's what we've got to do now, is we have to get in the way of climate collapse, or it's going to get in the way of us. So here I am sitting on a tree. I was just looking then for my phone. I've got a charge I'm going to have to put in a minute. High above the ground, attached to the rail line, what's called the God rope. You probably can't see that, but I'm pointing you in its general direction. Maybe we'll get some more light in a minute. By the God rope, I've taken the safety off. So now that's the only thing keeping me suspended in the air. And that's stopping all coal going to the world's largest coal port. And that means that for more than 12 hours now, we have shut down stopped coal from going into the world's largest coal port. And if you're one of the people watching this, or you're watching this later, you can join us. You can be part of the action and help protect all life. And I guess the call is to look at Blockade Australia's Facebook page, to check out what other actions you can take, and come be part of saving us all, because all we have is each other. So give us a share, give us a like. Got some people joining us here from a distance, taking the safety off. Give us a love, and you know, comment on it, show me that you're watching. I'm just taking it slow, taking it easy. This beautiful part of the country, it's been beautiful and kept by the First Nations people for, I don't know how long, nobody knows, but we call it 60,000 years. It's been longer probably. Time immemorial, since time began, since story was told, yeah? And country needs us. Country needs us to protect it. We are country protectors. We're not protesting. We're not what they call activists. We are country protectors. And we need you to come and join us. Country protects you, so we all need to protect country. Because the state they call Australia is killing it. Even though they know it kills themselves, they're not worried. They're going to keep doing it. They're going to keep taking as much as they can. They're going to keep taking the money. They're going to keep selling it until people get in the way. No laws are going to be passed, and if they're passed, they're not going to be enforced. Nothing's going to change until we change it. So we all need to come in get in the way. If you can climb a tree, come climb a tree. If you can get out, get yourself at other economic pressure points in this system, that's where we need to go. Because we need to act fast. It's 1 minute to midnight in the doomsday clock. We need country, and country needs us. We are country protectors. That's right. That's all we're doing. That's all I'm doing up here. It's all my friends did today. So please come and protect country, because it's all, you know, belongs to First Nations people. But country needs all of us to come along. If you can get to Sydney. If you can, look up the Blockade Australia page, share it with your friends. When next time you're having a beverage, tea, coffee, whatever, with your mates, talk about it with them, get them involved. They'll never stop until we stop them, Mark. That's right. And, you know, the police are here now, you know, and the laws of this land are set up to protect the extraction of resources. And that's what we need to get in the way of. And we need you to get in the way with us. I've been talking for a bit. I'm pretty tired. I'm just going to put you down. Please get involved. Actually, I'm just going to do my bag up. Be good for water. Maybe more food. Everything's a bit wet. That's the way it is. So we've got a bit of a light show happening. Police and rail crew are out. Probably looking at what's going on. And I'm here with you. Sorry, I've got so much to say, but I'm just going to conserve my energy for a bit. Try and protect my space a bit. Because country protects me, and I'll protect it. 20 people are watching. Ooh, 19. Sorry about that. Yeah. So we're about getting past the blah blah. And people call Greta a hero and talk about how great she is. Personally, I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off that people that young have to fight for their lives so hard. I'm pissed off that I have friends who are of the same age who have to keep fighting for their lives. I'm really pissed off. I'm pissed off that we let it happen. I'm 39, and when I was in primary school, I learned about climate change, you know, and it was taught as a far off thing. And then I became a geography teacher and it was taught as a far off thing. And it just kept getting worse, and the promises kept coming and nothing kept changing until I learnt and realised that nothing's going to change while they're making the money. So I looked into history about money and power and how all that works, and here's what happens. They will keep taking the money and the power until the people apply their power and stop them from doing it. And that's happened in lots of situations. Fun fact. The Nazis, renowned as the most ruthless government in all history, took one day from Berlin a bunch of men who were married to what they considered German women. The women of the Jewish men turned up outside the headquarters of the Gestapo, protesting for their husbands to be released. Now, this is the Nazis, right? The Nazis released the men after a weekend of the women standing outside in the snow and the cold, because the Nazis did not want to be seen as people who are hurting the people. Now that's called pressure on those in power. They found the weak spot in the Nazi system, and Blockade Australia is finding the weak spots in the Australian system, and we're going to apply the pressure. Those people who went down, they were risking their lives for their husbands. Well, now your life's at risk. Your children's life is at risk. I have kids in my life. Their lives are at risk. And if we don't get in the way of this thing, all their lives are finished. Our lives are finished. And people now, and not just a quiet, like, go to the movies, fall over dead. I'm talking about severe violence. As resources dry up, and you get more and more fascistic governments, this is what happens throughout history, voted in or take power in these states that are nuclear armed. What do you think is going to happen? Nuclear threat is still real. It's just another arm of the exploitative capitalist state. So what are we going to do? Are we going to let ourselves be killed, our future stolen by those in power? Or are we going to use non-violence and get in the way? We need to non-violently get in the way of the system, not in a weak-ass way. We need to be staunch. We need to work together. We need to take the sacrifice. We need to keep going. It's that or oblivion. Unfortunately, that's where we're up to. It won't be in the ballot box. You won't get a job that will change the system. The system will change you. Its interests will become your interests. So no, working in the system won't help. You can't be in a position of power when the shit goes down. Sorry for swearing. Bit tired. You can't be in a position of power when this all falls apart and expect to make change, because the system is making everything fall apart. The system is doing its job. So please get on board. Please look up Blockade Australia. Come out to a place like this. This is the only railway line going into the world's largest coal port. And we're blockading it. 12 hours now we've been blockading it. And I'm just going to scrabble through the bag as I look for it. So we've been blockading this coal port for 12 hours. I'm the fourth person. And you could be the next. Please come join us. Please form your own communities of resistance. Yeah, that's right. How can we trust nuclear power? Nuclear powered subs by 2040. Yeah, that'll be bad luck for all of us. So the question becomes, what do you want to do about this? You want to let the government just keep doing what it's doing? Extracting, killing us all? Or do you want to get in the way of it? And that is the question we're asking. So, I brought a few little things up to entertain me. I haven't gotten them out yet because I've been talking to you all. You all, been talking to all of you. And I've really enjoyed it. Put up more rain gear than I needed. Been bone dry. Thank you, country, for looking after me. Thank you, Mark, for staying with me. If you've got to go to bed, do whatever you need to do. I appreciate your comments, brother. They're great. Really good. I'm just got to be careful here. I'm going to put some stuff down, including you, and I'll be back. Comes out. But I'm still here. Keep coming in. Keep loving. Still blocking the world's largest coal port. Me and my God rope. We've been blocking it now for 12 hours. And we need you to keep coming. So we're just going to keep coming. It's just a bit... Oh, I suppose I can use this now, can't I? I was a bit blind before, and now it's a bit good. Look at that, straight away I'm in. Get my battery pack out of its waterproofing. So my name is Greg, I'm 39, and I'm up here because we are in the middle of climate collapse. I am suspended only by one rope. It's keeping me safely up this tree. That rope is attached to a rail line. And there's more and more cars coming in. And in doing this, we've shut down the world's largest coal port. Well, we stopped trains going in. Don't know if we shut it down. The world's largest coal port. Ooh, iPhone. And it's been doing that for 12 hours straight. Interrupt, disrupt, and disband capitalism. That's right. It's pretty funny how people claim capitalism as, you know, I'm a capitalist, I'm proud. So, just so you know, this isn't blocking any passenger trains, Brendan. This is blocking coal trains. And if you're a coal train driver, can I just say I'm here for you too. We can do a just transition where people get jobs and are looked after. My family's working class. My parents, my father worked in a mine, and we can transition away from this stuff. I want to protect your kids' future, and that's why I'm here. Passenger trains are unaffected. Passenger trains are good. It's 1 a.m. Wherever you are, it's 1 a.m. somewhere. It's 1 a.m. here, and I'm attached to the God rope. Got a foot in a tree for a bit of extra comfort, and we're doing our best here to slow down the destruction of life on planet Earth. I'm really bad at this whole live stream thing. I'm sorry about that. Don't know if you get a light show there. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, but the rain stopped, and I'm pretty happy with that. So if you're one of the 20 watching, please share. Please go back through previous Blockade Australia videos. We've had 4 people today. We had 2 people yesterday, 2 amazing people, 2 climate protectors, and Wilka, an amazing climate protector on the day before. And 4 people have been, over 12 hours now, we've been stopping coal trains getting in. If we keep applying pressure, it will cost them enough money that eventually we can force change on the system, which is leading to our collapse. So please feel free to come join us. Oh, I've turned the camera around. There's my Bible. An activist with a Bible. His name was Jesus. He had a Bible and he was an activist too. I don't know how they carried. Anyway, it's one of the things about 20 watching, 18 on trains around, watching, waiting for the cops to show up. Thank you, Tim. One of the things I can't find, you know, I had these passages marked in the Bible, but I'm just going to refer to them because I'm a bit tired. I just want to stay with you and just keep breathing and be more present with you. But in the book of James, you know, James he gives warnings out to people. When people think about Christianity and religion, they think, oh, it's about sex and all the horrible things, homosexuality. But what James and Jesus talked about were people who took more than they needed and who destroyed the earth. And that's what our country's been doing, and it's leading us to doom. So we've got some more first responders there. So that's what we're doing up here. We're trying to be first responders to Earth and doing the best we can. Giving it a bit of a shake. That's the only thing I'm attached to, so I can feel that, just so you know. Oh, good was the response. Here for the workers too. Cut it for you, said. I'm here for the workers too. Doing our best to, so they're just having a kick. It's a bit fragile, it's a rope. Strong rope, it's raining. So they're just having a look. Just keep filming them as best I can. So just a reminder here for the workers too, there is a just transition. There's jobs for everyone. And we don't need to be fighting each other for resources, for jobs. We can share what we have. You know, we can remember the law of this country. We need to listen to the real law, and that's what we're doing, aren't we? We're listening and seeing how people go. Trying to spread the word, Mark. Doing it for this. Yeah, Nick, the biggest accident, of course, is climate collapse. Trains are fine. Trains are dangerous, and we've taken many safety precautions. But the biggest accident, of course, is the fact that, you know, we're 20 years away from oceans being too acidic to support life. And that means us too. And we don't need to be exporting these fossil fuels. One of the only reasons that people keep buying it is because people keep selling it, like Australia. And thanks Nico for that commentary. Doing the best I can. Jobs in solar and renewables will be 10 times that of coal and gas. And, you know, we're going to need more trains and that kind of thing. There's still some guys having a kick of the rope. Just filming them. Way to put a little bit of slack in it. Jobs and sharing, like we can share the wealth. Don't know if anyone noticed, but we recently went through a pandemic where everyone had to stay at home. And in the interest of keeping the money rolling for the rich, we were able to subsidise everyone. And that was for a short time. And there's plenty of economic ways that we can keep people sustained, wealthy, and we'll have to find new ways of doing things. But maybe they'll be better than on this death spiral, which is leading us to collapse. Maybe we can find the way back to life that the law of this country is, that our ancient wisdom tells us we need to go back to. And I don't know what that'll be. We'll have to work it out. And this is part of working it out. But if we don't do anything, if we just sit back and let those in power keep dividing us against the working class, against each other, those who work jobs like our friends over there, you know, against people who study this stuff and read this stuff. Thanks, Mark. Not too many haters, and people are scared too, eh? They're scared about jobs and where they're going to live and what they're going to do, and we're all programmed to be scared. And that's what we need to do now. We need to overcome our fear. And those people over there, scared for their jobs. I'm scared for my future. And yeah, absolutely, Ingrid. Climate collapse the pandemic was a consequence of humans going into ecosystems previously had left alone. And all the sorts of things that we do, and you know, in some ways, considering the damage we do to the ecosystem, we've been let off pretty light, but it's going to get worse. So we need to get in the way of these extractive systems. This is not my first choice of things to do. It's all gravy. It's all gravy until the climate train collapses, Nick. And we're all on it, unfortunately. You can even the deniers haven't got a leg to stand on anymore because mainstream media is admitting it. But this is part of their strategy. Put it off until the end. Put it off as long as possible. But now that the evidence, we had the bushfires in here a few years ago, we're seeing flooding and rain that hasn't happened on this continent in a long time. We're seeing famines happen in Madagascar and Angola. Climate famines. You know, have a look at how disease is spreading through Bangladesh and people are losing their homes. This has never happened before. People lived there for years and years and years. And the reason that those rivers are flooded and doing what they're doing and they're running out of drinking water, people in Bangladesh in the dry season have to drink groundwater they've never drunk before because, and they're, you know, it's a choice of die of thirst or give your kids water that might be laced with arsenic. And the reason is the glaciers that feed the rivers from the Himalayan mountains are in deep recession. So we're all on that, and then, you know, we're all one. Those people on here who are thinking I'm a bit of an idiot, we're all idiots if we let this happen. We're all connected. Well, Ingrid, for a long time we weren't the biggest pests, right? Humans weren't the biggest pests. For a long time we lived in harmony with society, with the society of the ecosystem. 60,000 years on this continent. I'm not going to say everything was perfect, but they certainly knew how to live in tune with harmony in nature. They certainly knew how to keep law and protect the place, so they didn't stuff it up the way we're stuffing it up. And that's what we've got to get back to. There's plenty for all of us. We can feed, you know, more. I think the number is 11. If we spread out all the food and the resources we have, we could feed 11 billion people. And then as people are fed and resources are given, history shows people want to do less things. People have use less resources the more secure they are. Part of the system we're in keeps us scared. Scared to take action, scared to do anything other than keep up with the Joneses with our consumption, and it's killing us. It's killing us, and that's part of non-violent direct action. At the moment we're small, but we're growing. Because we're getting past the fear. Remembering the law of country which keeps us protected. Remembering, I'm going to bring Jesus in again. Jesus who said, work for love, not money. You cannot serve two masters, for you will grow to love one and hate the other. You cannot work, you cannot worship love and money both. And we've taken the money path. Christians too. Especially Christians, mainly, unfortunately. And Christians should be up here. This should be the dimension of Christians, and other people of faith and people who care should be up here. And anyone should be up here, but just the way I read Christianity, the way I try to live out my faith as following Jesus, is to put yourself in the place of the people who are most oppressed, stand alongside them. And if you're not doing that with your life, at the moment, in this late stage of climate collapse, of ecosystem death,
all this beautiful nature that we inherited, this creation that was gifted to us by ancestors who cared for it for us, it's going to go, and we're going to go with it. So how do we get in the way? Because our God rope has been held by a thread. Our lifeline, we're cutting it ourselves, friends. How do we remember the old law and live it? How do we listen to our elders and live it? How do we remember the old ways of faith and live it? And faith has been usurped by capitalism too, to mean making money and building empires of your own religion. But faith means putting others' needs before yourself. To me, it does anyway. I don't want to be sitting up a tree. I don't want to be facing legal processes. But how can I sit by and live my life while people across the world starve to death? While species die for the economic gain that makes my life rich and comfortable, and call myself a human being, let alone a Christian? And so here it is at 1 AM, and I'm up a tree, holding a phone, doing my best to demonstrate that we can do this. We can build the beautiful community that gets in the way of these resources. Just a bit of shadow from another car backing up. It's been a long day. Been a long day for people responding to these resistors. We've been doing this now for 13 hours. I've been up here a couple. Please share this video widely. Please comment on it. Tag me in it, someone, so my friends will see. They're all in bed and I hope they're having a good rest. I don't want to be here. I want to be on country. I want to be in the bush. I don't want to be having police shine their lights on me. First responders feeling threatened about their jobs. But I feel like I have no choice, because we are in the midst and the death knell of creation. And if it goes, or if we get past the point where, you know, we can't undo it, and we're getting very close to that point now, how could we ever forgive ourselves? How could our children forgive us? How can creation forgive us? We're supposed to be protecting country, and we've just abused it. And for all human existence, creation has cared for us. So what do you say? 20 of you that are watching, give it a share, give it a like, give it a love. If you're as angry about climate collapse, give it an anger. If you're angry at me sitting in this tree because you want to bring your coal train in, give it an anger. Because I'm angry too that I have to stop you from doing your job. I'd much rather you have a much nicer job that doesn't harm the planet and your children's future. So give me an angry act. Be pissed off. Feel it. Feel it. It's the only way we're going to get through this. And then decide how we can best act together to stop. Good night, brother. Thank you so much for your comments. Appreciate it. It's Timmy, thank you for commenting on that. That's the millions that have been lifted out of poverty. You have to look at that closely, brother. Firstly, what's the good of lifting people out of poverty if we're destroying the ecosystems that are going to keep them alive for a generation? Yeah? They're all going to die. Secondly, we have the resources to share what we have so that we can pull people out of poverty. I think the top 20% of the world's people control 80% of the world's wealth. So if we redistributed the wealth and redistributed how we share things, this economic system together, not from an authoritarian and not from a boss, but together sharing what we have, then we wouldn't have those people in poverty that would need coal in the first place. And that's why we're out here for the last 13 hours or so, getting in the way of this climate collapse. Come join us. Join the conversation. Because I want people out of poverty too. I want people living a better life. But if we give them taxpayer-funded coal, like your tax dollars are paying to be exported overseas, and all it does is lead to climate collapse, what good is that poverty lifting? What's your end game there? You can enjoy a nice new TV Thank you so much. Appreciate your love. Thanks for the share. Have a good rest. So that argument is illogical, because the whole death spiral is illogical. Keep extracting to make everyone... Let's just say we shared the wealth more, which we don't. It all goes to the pocket of a few. Let's just say we keep sharing it. The wealth a bit, that, you know, lifting people out of poverty, and then the ecosystem collapses and we all go through terrible wars and die horrible deaths. I am interested in people being lifted out of poverty. That's part of the reason I'm up here. People shouldn't be in poverty. We need to be sharing the wealth more, not using what we have to, you know, use taxpayer money to put in the pockets of a few. Thank you, Carlo. We are all the mustard seeds. We are everywhere and you can't stomp us out. Please do what you can to come join us. Please share. Please look up Blockade Australia. It's time to put love before money. It's time to step out of fear. Perfect love casts out perfect fear. Oh, Tim, give me a ring. I'll come and drink coffee with you and talk all day. That's what I do. It's going to move my foot a bit. Enjoy the light show for a minute. Oh, that's good. That's better. Bit of a stretch. So, friends, Tim, I'm Greg Rolls on Facebook. You can probably find me. If not already friends, sorry if we are. Thank you, Ingrid. I'll stay up here as long as I can. It's a bit dark. Not sure how long I'll be up here. I assume they'll want to get the coal running again, and hopefully some people can turn up and respond to the call to blockade again. And away we go. Yeah. We need to talk, we need to plan, and we need to act. Everything is on the line. Thanks, Tim. Let's talk to you soon. Stay safe if you're in a COVID affected area. Yeah. The pollution makes people sick. Thanks, Nat, for commenting on that. And Gladstone, you know, I know tourism is not an equal bell curve for what can help people, but just the life that having healthy ecosystems bring, you know, less ill health. And guess who gets unhealthy the first? That's right, it's usually people who are lower on the socioeconomic scale, people who already face oppression. They're usually the first ones to cop those health impairments. And they all benefit from healthy ecosystems. The people who don't benefit, well, they do benefit. The people who want to destroy those healthy ecosystems are, of course, the rich elite who want to make money. Heating oceans is destroying the Great Barrier Reef, which is worth, you know, billions in tourism. We don't care. When coral reefs die, 75% of the world's ecosystem, the ocean ecosystem dies. We don't care. We want to make our money now. And they're going to keep doing that until we get in the way of it. And we need you to help us get in the way, whatever your ability. I know not everyone can climb a tree and sit up here, but it's a community of resistance we're trying to build. Please come join us. We need ya. Thanks for sticking with me in these midnight hours. And the midnight special. No midnight special going to the coal port tonight. Maybe a bit later. But here we are, First Nations land, country that was never ceded. Doing our best to stop climate collapse. Thank you for joining me in this late hour. Blockade Australia, midnight to 6 AM show. My name's Greg Rolls. Up here because I love country and I'm doing my best to protect it. Big shout out to those who blockaded today. I saw on the live stream a person called Sergio, I saw on the live stream a person called John, and I saw on the live stream a person called Emma. And I'm really thankful to you for your sacrifice. I'm really thankful to you for what you've done. I really hope that you're doing well wherever you are. And I really hope that you've inspired some people watching this or who watched your live streams throughout the day to come and join us in whatever capacity you can. Those destroying the earth are working full time. to do it. And I'm talking about those in the boardrooms, those who make more than 6 figures a year, 7, 8, 9 figures a year. They're the ones destroying the earth. They're doing it full time. And if we have any chance of surviving, of ending climate collapse, we also need to be working full time. So please come join us. Yeah, the loose coal going through Newcastle. You know, I hear Newcastle is one of the sickest places in Australia because they hose the coal down, but they don't want to cover it up. Blockade Australia is about blockading the economic essential points of Australia, the economic system, not the continent, not the country. We need to look at the laws that govern Australia as those that were set up to extract resources, to put wealth in the pockets of a few. So much so that Australia is one of the countries who have 20% of the population yet control 80% of the world's wealth. And that gap continues to increase in spite of the, don't know if you're still watching, you said coals lift millions out of poverty. In spite of that, in spite of the increasing electricity supply, we're still getting richer out of their resources. So lots of people over there, lots of first responders. My name's Greg Rolls. I'm 39 years old. I'm sitting up a tree in the middle of the night because we have stopped coal trains going into the world's largest coal port for over 13 hours now. I think one might have got through, but I'm not sure. So I just want to put it out there. It's not all of them, but it's pretty close to all of them. And this is what 4 of us can do in a day. Imagine what a bigger community of people could do. And this is not my first choice of things to be doing. I sat very hard and considered this action. Sat, as we Quakers call it, sat in the light. I sat with some elders and thought very strongly about what I was doing, and elders, being what they are, asked a bunch of very serious questions that were very wise. Thank you, Ingrid. And I came to the conclusion that I was doing my best to follow the light and taking this action, to offer my support to country in taking this action. And this wasn't a decision taken lightly or easily. This is a decision taken because country is under threat. Creation is under threat. And as I sit in the light with the privilege I have, as I sit in the light of creation that is within all of us, every single one of you, hi light of creation. If you're an atheist, that's okay. They're your best self. To me, it's the same thing. I couldn't sit by and live my life any other way than trying to stop this. These are not things that I want to be doing. This is not my first choice sitting up here in the cold. It's not my first choice for rail workers to feel like that their livelihood's under threat. The country calls us to protect it the way it protects us. If you're a Christian, Jesus calls you to love and work for love more than money. To be like the birds in the trees. Here I am, bird in the tree, doing my best to get by. To be as the flowers in the field who just grow and look beautiful, you know? And that should be our worries. Can we keep growing the flowers in the field? Because right now, because the Christians forgot about their teachings and the colonizers came and destroyed country and tried to destroy law, but you can never destroy law. But try to destroy the people who hold the law, we're all under threat and all under risk. So the question becomes, if country's protecting you, what are you going to do to protect country? Have a look at the light show for a minute. It's given us good stage lighting for the midnight special. Of course, the midnight special is a train. I think, isn't it? Isn't it the song Midnight Special about a train? And there's no midnight special coming in to the coal port tonight. So for 13 and a half hours we've been blocking coal going in to the world's largest coal port, doing our best to slow down the destruction of the ecosystem which is keeping us all alive. I'm not the world's greatest, you know, adventurer. I just care about country. And I really want country to be safe for the children in my life, because right now they don't have a future. Right now we are on the precipice of climate collapse. It's happening already. People starving to death, as I said earlier. People are starving to death right now in Madagascar and southern Madagascar and in Angola because of climate collapse. Why are their lives more precious than me here? Just because my country has the guns and the arms and the death spiral to go and take the resources from the other countries, burn it and destroy our home. I'm really sorry for the way we do things, and I want to change it, and that's why I'm up here. If you're watching this and you haven't heard, my name's Greg. I'm 39. I teach history and geography. I've been teaching casual the last few years because I was sick of talking about climate collapse year in, year out. I learned about it in school. I taught it for many years to high school students. And eventually I would have been teaching it to kids after it was irreversible, and I just couldn't let that happen. People say, you're a good teacher and you're a good talker, and those things are true. I'm amazing, but there's no geography or history on a dead planet. So here I am, model citizen teacher, breaking the law of so-called Australia by setting up a tree, 1:26 a.m. on country, with first responders lights, what I assume are police but don't know, looking over at me. Not my favourite way to spend the evening. Not too many chais, hippies in their chais, not too many chai lattes and chocolate cake. Not too much chance to go for a good jog. That's right, Nat, thank you. Our actions do echo throughout eternity. We're all part of the web of life, and what we do has consequences. And it's easy to be scared and stay in fear, and we need people to organise and grow communities of resistance to things as they are. There's many other ways I'd love to be organising too. There's many other great groups that people are part of that I would love to be part of more, but I just don't have time because we have to get in the way of this thing. Those who can't see, that's the rail line of the world's largest coal port. And we've been blocking it for 13 and a half hours now, and there'll be costs to that. My time and energy. For one thing, legal consequences, but the consequences of not acting are far higher. And that's the position that we've been put in by this colonial state. So we need to dig deep, we need to touch our philosophical, spiritual roots. We need to find law, listen to those who hold law on this country. They've held law for 60,000 years or more, and we need to listen to them and obey that, because they're the true keepers. 60,000 years they lived in harmony with this environment. And in less than 200, in more than 200, we've completely stuffed it. We bought the Bible with the left hand, and with the right hand we bought a gun. And we're killing it all. But in the seeds of our spiritual disciplines, or if you're an atheist in your philosophical inquiries, we can look at the world as it is and work out the best way to respond. And the best way to respond, of course, non-violent direct action. Getting in the way of this system, which is destroying all life on earth as we know it. If you're still watching at this godly hour, and it is godly, please give me a share, please give me some love, just to help the algorithms. Yeah, we don't have time, Ingrid. I wish we did. Wish we had time for so we need to be, and honestly, we probs need to be doing this 30 or 40 years ago, and people were. But we can cut it down now. Rapid decarbonisation is possible through non-violent direct action. So those who are still making the money and the power out of it can be forced to change, force the system to change. I'm sure we can find other jobs for people. Solar, wind, renewable energies, as you said earlier, Ingrid, are going to give far more jobs than fossil fuels, which are becoming automated anyway. And if you're angry and you want to comment, I'm happy to chat. If you want to talk logic, if you just want to call me dickhead, I probably won't chat too well. You're welcome to your opinion, and I see the light of God in you. So it's 1:30 in the morning, and I'm up a tree here on unceded country that always was and always will be First Nations land. I'm sitting on a bed sit that's attached to the God rope. That's attached. It's just dark for you. You can see the rope there. It's attached to the rail line that's blocking trains from going to the world's largest coal port. And we are running out of time to avert climate collapse. Please consider ways that you can make this your full-time job. It doesn't pay anything. There's no money in preventing climate collapse because the money system is tied up in extracting the resources. And sometimes NGOs will say they'll do things, but then sometimes they get money tied up in their jobs in keeping up the status quo. Bit of a light show for you. So we have to do our best to make this our full-time job and get in the way of these systems that are killing us. Because the bushfires we saw a few years ago are just the beginning. The floods that we've seen around the world are just the beginning. We're running out of time, and we have to do our best to get in the way of these systems. That's all we can do. So please get involved. Please do your best to join us. And let's get in the way of these systems of oppression, systems of exploitation. I know some of you will have to go to bed. Go to bed, get up. First, share that Blockade Australia page. Make a plan to chat about it with your mates. And then when you're ready, contact Blockade Australia. Come to Sydney next year. You know, get ready to blockade that economic choke point too, because that was the first place, and that's the political, economic culture capital of Australia. And if we can cost it money and enough people power, that's you, get in the way of those economic systems, the government can and will rapidly decarbonise. And that's what we need to do now. So my name's Greg. I'm 39 and I am attached by the God rope to this tree sit up a tree on a walkable, I believe it's a walkable country, on land that was never ceded, land that was stolen. Just felt a few drops of rain. Haha, thank you, Ingrid. Thanks for staying with me. The more that say, I love your company. Company on the Facebook. I think I'm about 15 metres high. So 15 metres high, suspended by one line to the rail line. The rail line goes in and out of the world's largest coal port. I'm just going to rest my head in my hand. I'm getting a bit tired, but I'm actually doing pretty good and feeling pretty good. Sitting on a bed sit. And I intend to stay as long as possible, or until the coal port shuts down and Australia says we're not going to export coal. Small demands. Negotiation is an important part of non-violence. Negotiate, escalate, repeat. But we're running out of time to negotiate because the time frame for climate collapse is so heavy, so big, so small, so fast. And we don't have time anymore. We're just out of it, unfortunately. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, please find a way to full-time get involved in the fight to save our home. Whatever your ability, whatever you can or can't do, that's okay. Peace building is the key to solving climate collapse. Complete peace building means that we need all of us, whatever our ability, whatever we can do. And we're going to need sacrifice. We're going to need people to step up. Step out of I'm very well and truly above my comfort zone here. Facing legal consequences that I don't want to face. Facing a long night that I don't want to face. But millions of people around the world are joining up. And we need you. We need all of us to get involved. If you're one of the ones watching this and you care about your children's future, or you want to have children, you want to care about their future, you need to be one of the ones involved in non-violently getting in the way. Non-violence is a state where we meet all of our needs, or we communicate and work together till all of our needs are met. And the needs of our ecosystem right now are very, very big. Please come and get involved. So I'm suspended about 15 meters up in the air. And the Earth's ecosystem is suspended a lot higher because they keep us all alive. And if we don't get involved full time in this work, then we're all going to perish. Our God rope is extremely thin and it is lowering every minute. Every minute we don't get in the way of this thing, the very systems that keep us alive are dying. Every moment that we delay climate action, but more importantly, every moment that we let governments get in the way of the system, we let governments, every moment that we let the Australian, so-called Australian government, continue to extract resources, burn them and put fossil fuels in the atmosphere, is another moment that we lose and another chance to save the lives of our children. And I know that's big dramatic words, right? But I'm not suspended 15 metres in the air tied to a railway line for placidity. I, like all my friends who blockaded today, like Emma and John and Serge, I am just doing the best I can. And there's many others. Again, shout out to my brothers and sisters and others in the Pacific Islands who are fighting for us too. Fighting for themselves and fighting for us. Shout out to all First Nations defenders across this continent. Japarong, Deebing Creek, I'm sorry, is it Cubby? Up near what we now call Gympie. Thank you for protecting country. We're doing our best to be with you. I'm doing my best to be with you. Because country needs you to come and join us. It's 1:30 AM here on Blockade Australia Radio. My name is Greg Rolls and I hope you're having yourselves a pleasant evening. We don't have any songs, but I recommend that if you like music like I do, look up Pussy Riot. Love a bit of Russian punk liberation music. Also liberators in their own country, facing steeper costs than anyone in this country so far who's done earth protecting is facing. So, I mean, our First Nations sisters, brothers and others face huge costs when they put themselves in the way for their country. But we're relatively privileged, the rest of us. And that's why with that privilege comes responsibility. So please come. Please join our efforts to protect country. We all need to be the canary in the coal mine, whatever your ability, whatever you can do. Climbing a tree looks hard. It's not super hard. I'm just going to show you what looks like a truck coming in. Maybe they're bringing some vegan pizza, vegan chocolate, as they go and get the real climate criminals. You never know you like in a big city. It's almost 2 AM, 14 hours. Thank you for that update, Emu. 14 hours we've been blockading. And now the only thing that's going to stop us is for the Australian, so-called Australian government to stop exporting fossil fuels and to stop exploiting country. And the only way the Australian government is going to do it with the people of so-called Australia, that's you watching and sharing and watching this later, inshallah, God willing, get on board this as a full-time job and do what you can to protect us. You need to protect country the way country is protecting you, and it's protected us for 10,000 generations or more. And that's at risk of ending. That's at risk of dying unless we stand up to this system which is killing Earth. And that's why I'm stuck up a tree in the middle of the night. 10,000 billion things I want to be doing with my life right now. But I'm up here in the... It's not too chilly actually, I'm doing alright, I got some gear on. But in the cool November air, where there's been cold November rain, doing my best to protect country, because country's been protecting me for so long. All my life and 10,000 generations before me. And it's our turn to protect country now. Because the systems which enforce the law in so-called Australia are there to protect the death machine. So you need to get in the way of it. I've been doing a lot of talking for 13 viewers. Thanks for staying with me, friends. It's been a long time coming, protecting country. It's been a long time work, that 200 years before us, hey? And I hope that we can get there. I hope that we can save ourselves, but it's going to take all of us. It's going to take all of us doing what we can. Thanks, Emu. It's been a few hours of this. Don't know how much you've seen. Gas bagging away. Points to note. 20 years away from the ocean's acidity being so high, phytoplankton will die. If we go below 7.9, that's a recent study. And it's getting acidified because of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, acts as a big carbon sink. Fossil fuel companies are bigger than the democracy that we're told we can make a difference in with the voting. They're controlling us, controlling the media, because they're all in cahoots. And the only way that we can take that power back is with non-violent direct action. Nat, it's been a team effort you've been contributing to. I respect, love and respect to you for that. Thank you. People are just having a go at the God rope. Not sure what you can see there, but there's just a bunch of Hovers people having a look at the knot. It's keeping me alive. Just like our ecosystems are keeping us alive. For now. A bit of another light show coming up. But of course the real show will be if we don't get in the way of ecosystem collapse. And just a reminder that the laws which protect the people extracting are what we're non-violently protesting against. We're non-violently protesting against the system which is extracting resources from Earth and destroying country. Yes, my sit has been moving as the God rope's been done, but there were some rail workers who did a bit of kicking before, and I survived that joggle, and I survived that joggle too. So just a few people there having a look. Some first responders in the middle of the night. How long have we been going for now, Emu? 14 hours or something. Stopping coal from getting into the world's largest coal port. And again, this is not my favourite thing to be doing, but I do feel pretty special about being on country and being able to protect country. So I'm here on country, on the unceded lands. I think it's the Awagable people. Correct me if I'm wrong, please, Emu, if you know, or anyone knows.
Alright, Greg, how you going, mate?
Yeah, g'day.
Mate, my name's Chief Inspector Mears from Newcastle Police, you understand that?
Sorry, I can hear you a bit, Chief Inspector.
Mears?
Okay, Chief Inspector, yeah.
Yep. Mate, I just want to, first of all, see how you are. You got water and stuff up there? And,
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you.
and is that secure as far as you're concerned?
Just on that line, yeah.
Right. Okay, so you haven't got any concerns about your safety at the moment?
Just about climate collapse and the imminent death of the ecosystem.
Yeah,
Bit of a safety concern.
Talking about your structure, mate.
Well, it's the structure which holds us all up, hey?
Alright, no drama.
What's...
Right, just before we start, okay, I just want you to understand that your presence here is causing a serious risk to the safety of yourself and others. Do you understand that?
I'll just say I understand what I'm doing here. My name's. I'm happy to give you my name, my date of birth, and that I'm fully vaccinated.
That's good. Thanks for telling us you're fully vaccinated.
Yep.
No symptoms and
No,
you haven't
had a recent test. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, mate. What's your last name?
RO. You can write it down. Rolls.
Rolls. Yep.
So R for Roger, O for Oscar, L for Lima, E for Echo, S for Sierra.
No worries. And your date of birth?
18th of November 81.
18th November 81. Right. Now, do you understand that your presence here is causing a serious risk? Sorry,
I'm just going to say no, thank you, officer. I'm here non-violently protesting the destruction of our ecosystem.
Just got to let you know, mate.
Yeah, the rest is no comment. Other than that,
No, that's fair enough.
thank
I
you.
understand that your presence here is interrupting the business activities of the rail corp. You understand that?
So I'm here doing my best to protect country. No comment.
Okay, that's all right.
But I am no violent. I'm no violent practitioner.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. So I'm here.
Look, and that's the thing, mate. Later on, we will obviously be coming up there to get to some stage. So when we do come up, you're quite happy to cooperate on to get up there.
So I'm here. Just no comment to the rest. Thank you. So my name's Greg Rolls. I'm 39.
So you're not going to come down, I take it?
I'm just going to stay up here, trying to as long as I can slow down ecosystem destruction. No comment. Thank you. Slow down ecosystem destruction. Using non-violence to get in the way, because this economic system is in the way of our safe future. Staying up here dealing with police. This is like the last thing I want to be doing with my time. One of the last things. I'm sure there's a few worse things. No, don't comment with that, but definitely not anything I want to be doing. There's no glory or pay or anything like that. It's just because country protects us and we have to protect country. That's it. Because the ones that country protect in places like Australia, so-called, but on the First Nations land that's been First Nations for a long time. In places, as I mentioned before, all over the world, people are facing climate catastrophe at the moment. The ones that are always on my mind lately are Angola, where 6 million people are... Is that better light? Where 6 million people are facing starvation from climate-induced drought. Bit of play happening on the line. Rail workers there having a bit of a kick. Give me a bit of a shake. I'll just film them for a bit if I can. We're facing climate collapse. Madagascar, southern Madagascar, where people are starving. These are people who have had the least contribution. They've lived off the land sustainably from products, low income, high, low monetary income, doing their best just to survive. And, because of our climate death cult that is the colonial economic system, they're dying. They're dying. And we're next. We're next. It's happening to some of us now, and it's going to keep happening. So what's the best thing that we can do? Get in the way. Non-violently get in the way of the system which is causing climate collapse. And that's the best thing that we can do. So if you're just tuning in, my name's Greg. I'm 39. I'm a history geography teacher. I teach casually. Now, because I've focused most of my time on trying to get in the way of climate collapse. Good evening. Hi. Just got Mark and Andrew. Say again?
Are you going to play up to come up there? Are you going to fly and help us out to come down?
Just so you know, I'm not going to put you or anyone else at risk. I practice non-violence fully. I'm doing my best to be up here as long as I can, but I won't put you at risk or anything.
This group is going to the train track. Is that holding you up?
That's the only thing holding me up. The safety's off. Yeah, I'm just going to stay here and say no comment. Thank you. Thanks very much. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much. Okay. That's my only line, and I'm up here. Yeah. Yeah, attached to the guideline. Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to stay here as long as I can, but I won't be using violence, and the rest is no comment. Thank you. So, yeah, so looks like they're going to try and get me down soon. 2 a.m, don't know how many hours that's been. It's been a few whilst we've tried to get in the way of the climate collapse which is ensuing this world. We're 20 years away from oceans being too acidic for phytoplankton to be survived. Once it dips below 7.9, it's game over. And the oceans are a big carbon sink, so the more carbon dioxide goes in the atmosphere, the more our ocean carbon, climate change as they call it, climate collapse, global warming has been slowed significantly by the oceans doing the best they can to. So just some more jiggling of my line there. Yeah, the big carbon sinks, and the more carbon they absorb, the more acidic they become, and the more acidic they become, the less phytoplankton is able to survive. Phytoplankton produces 60% of the world's oxygen, and it's at risk from climate change. And if it goes, we all go. That's how phytoplankton's our god rope. So we have to get in the way of it. And whatever your ability, whatever you can or can't do, you need to get in the way of the system. Look up Blockade Australia. Come join in. We used to resist for causes that we care about, and this is something we deeply care about because it's our survival and survival of every person walking this earth. Please come join us. So we don't need to be exporting coal. We can have a just transition. There's so many more jobs in renewable energies. We just spent a pandemic, which hopefully we're coming out the other side of, supporting whole businesses, which we can do through modern monetary theory and universal basic income. The reason we don't have those things is because it shares the wealth out a bit too much. People aren't scared, they don't buy as much. The rich don't get richer. But we can do it. Just as we can bring people through and share the wealth that we have across the world. So my name's Greg. I'm doing my best up here to stand with country. So as country protects us, we must protect country. It is nearly 2 a.m. I started this live stream, or a live stream, sorry, technical difficulties being my total inability to drive modern technology, talking about the midnight hour, the hour of anguish in Christianity, the hour that people are like, oh no, sacrifice, that we have to make, don't want to do it. But we have to make that sacrifice. Those of us with the privilege who can climb these trees, you can get up and get in the way of this economic system, have to do it. And if you can't do that, then you can certainly help support people until you feel that you're confident and happy to get in the way. Again, this is not what I want to be doing. This isn't choice. I'm not up here having the time of my life. The only option is to resist Nat.
There's just a couple of things we've got to read out to you. You don't have to make a comment if you don't wish to, but we've got to read it out anyway. Do you understand that?
So just no comment, thank you.
That's all right. We'll read it out anyway.
So just police are reading out their things. My name's Greg Rolls. I'm sitting up a tree at 5 to 2 in the morning, and we're doing our best to get in the way of climate collapse, as you just heard ART, so they're saying serious risk of safety. Thank you, Tim. Tim, it's quite late over there. You're doing so well. So we need to do our best to get in the way because the serious risk of safety comes from climate collapse. Climate collapse is the most serious risk to safety to all of us. The wars that we will bring, the oceans are getting more acidic than can support phytoplankton life. And that's the most serious risk to our health. Please do your best to get in the way of us. Of the economic system which is killing us all. I'll just took you to the light show. So as I said, we are sitting in the middle of climate collapse. It's 1 minute to midnight, and we're doing our best to protect life as we know it.
For my assistance in having you
So we are doing our best here to protect. It's been 3 hours. Thanks, Emu. That's really good.
causing a serious risk to the safety of yourself and
So I'm doing my best to protect us from climate collapse. I'm doing my best to get in the way of a system, which is killing us all. If we don't get in the way of these coal lines, which are constituting climate collapse, of these economic systems, which are killing us, which are killing us and destroying us, are the biggest safety risk. Please help us get in the way. If you're watching this, thank you, Ingrid. That is the serious risk. So in a minute, people are going to get up and I might have to sign out of my Facebook, but I'll stay as long as I feel safe to do so. Please do your best to get out with Blockade Australia. Please do your best to join us. The country needs you to protect it the way it protects us. And the way to do that is through non-violent direct action. Still got a little bit of time. So 15 viewers. Yeah, more than when I used to have a radio show. Privilege. I'll talk briefly about privilege. So we live in a patriarchal system that privileges white, hetero, cis male people. And the higher your privilege, for me personally, this is what my Christianity brings me to, the higher your responsibility for those below you on the patriarchy, because if they suffer, you suffer, right? We all suffer. Nobody wins when climate collapse happens. So you have to use your privilege to love your neighbour as yourself. Hi, Sully. You have to use your privilege to love your neighbour as yourself. That's what it's for. So if you want to love God with all your heart, mind, body and soul, the highest command and the equal high command, thanks Ingrid, I'll do my best. You have to love your neighbour as yourself, because Jesus said that's the same thing. And Jesus also said, work not for the meat that perishes, but work for the kingdom of heaven. And the kingdom of heaven is a community that shares everything evenly on this earth and looks after country the way it was done here for 60,000 years. And in lots of other places around the world before these colonial economic projects wrecked the place. And I'm not as up to date on other faiths and teachings. I'm sorry about that. But for me as a Quaker, someone who does my best to follow the light within me and within all of us and within creation, as a Christian, I do my best to follow Jesus. And that means giving yourself over to love. Giving yourself over to love, and the more privilege you have, the more resistance you have, in my view, the responsibility to give. I'm quite tired. Tired of talking. Spirit is willing. Jesus resisted empire for love, and that's the example that I very imperfectly try to follow. Nat? That's right. Not very good a lot of the time. I'm pretty lazy, but I do my best. That's all any of us can do, right? Because at the end of the day, if we don't do our best to get in the way of this thing, climate collapse will be the result. I'm just going to move for a second. I'm just going to put my phone down there. But I'm going to keep talking about resisting empire. Whoop. Make the old line fray. Pressure on it. So, my name is Greg, I'm 39, 40 in a bit, and got lots of kids in my life, and I know their life will be short. A lot of them won't get to see 40 the way we're going. And that's not Greg Rolls with an arts degree talking, that's real climate scientists. There was a thing I heard, we've got 3 or 4 years to save the next 1,000 generations. That's it. And governments move slowly. Even if they wanted to save us, which they don't. They want to keep making money for the elite. That's what they do. And we all know that. And we need to build communities of resistance, which means doing everything we can to get in the way of the systems which are killing us. Please join us. Please do your best to join us. Because even at 2 AM sitting in a tree, it still feels like 1 minute to midnight. Because climate collapse is around us. I'd laugh, Greg. What are you laughing about, mate? Please come join us. We need you. We need communities of resistance to do things like block the only coal train line going to the world's biggest coal port. And to find other reckoning. It's not about coal. That's a fossil fuel that Australia exports that it doesn't need to export. It's about other large economic choke points in so-called Australia that we can find and blockade together. Not something we want to spend our time doing, but we have a responsibility to do. And if you're serious about understanding the economic system and you're serious about living the then we have to get in the way of this economic system. Sorry, my phone locked for some reason, but kept going. Huzzah! Please come join us. There's plenty of people who are getting in the way of things, but we need you. The nature of peace building is that we need everyone. If you don't believe me about the science, do a quick search. Watch Climate Town. Climate Town's a YouTube channel which lays it all out in a very well-fashioned way, so you get all the science. Watch any number of them, because science denial no longer has a place in the climate, because even the mainstream media admits, after years of funneling and fueling and putting that stuff up. Watch Alexander Ocasio-Cortez interview the BP executive, for instance. Why am I wearing a hat? I don't know why I wear a hat. The moon might not give me sunshine, but the full moon might. A bit of warmth, Emu. Oh, sorry, Chris, bit of warmth. Please join us on the front lines. Your kid's future is at stake, and as is yours. There's passenger trains happening in the distance, Emu. Not on this line. This is solely a coal train line, but I'm close to where passenger trains are doing their thing, because we don't get in the way of... Thank you, Nat, for sharing that. Because we don't get in the way of passenger trains yet at the moment. Maybe one day we will if we're trying to stop coal trains. But today, at least, we are just in the way of the coal extraction project, which is killing the planet. Australia is in an economic position where we don't actually need to be burning, we don't actually need to be exporting coal. Thanks, Ram. Been going a bit longer than 1 AM too. But anyway, wherever you are. Ooh, shadow. It's finger on the phone. Yeah, pretty close to the point of where ecological collapse will kill us all. And if we don't take non-violent direct action like Blockade Australia, and I'm happy to be taking part in this action as part of Blockade Australia under their guise and under that name, then we're not going to prevent the ecological collapse, which is already happening and on its way. Please form communities of resistance. I've laid out a lot. If you've just joined, this is the 6th action in 3 days. We've been blockading for about, is it 14 hours, Emu? I'm not sure. You've been following the live streams religiously, Emu. Thank you, and I appreciate that. Yeah. So we're in the middle of climate. My name is Greg Rolls. If you're just joining, one of the lucky 16 on the midnight to 16 hours, 15 hours we've been blocking the only train line going into the world's largest coal port, slowing down this extraction project, which is Australia. What they call Australia is actually a system of laws set up to protect extraction, so the few at the top can get rich, with the promise that you scrambling on the bottom might one day be rich yourself. And I believe in a different dream. It's called us all living. Survival, food, peace, security. Crazy, crazy thoughts. So we've got to do our best now to get in the way of these things. We've got to do our best to stop this economic project known as Australia, put pressure on it, and pardon me, letting have a bit of weight, just farting. Get in the way of these economic systems which are causing climate collapse. And you will live to see it. You'll live to see it. We've got 20 years till the oceans are too acidic, and we need to cut that off now. Cut that carbon destruction off now, because they're going to keep acidifying for a while longer after we stop. The Earth's going to keep heating a while longer after we... It's a passenger train you can hear, doing its sustainable thing. Please help us get in the way of climate collapse. It's going to move again. Been a few hours and these old bones get a bit sore. So we are in the middle of climate collapse. We are in the middle of ecosystem crisis, and we're doing our best to get in the way. For 15 hours today we've been blockading the largest coal port in the world, which has a single line in, and we've considered that an economic pressure point that if enough people can get in the way of, we can start costing real money to those who are going to put their bank balances above our life. And this is something that anyone can do, and we encourage everyone to do this. Yeah, Emu and everyone who's young, I am really sorry for what's happening. And I'm sorry as someone who's a bit older than you that I let this happen and didn't give this enough time and energy. And please forgive me, all of you young people. And please, country, forgive me and help me to do it now. So they're just bringing a ladder in, which I'm not sure how it's going to work, but I'm just going to stay here as long as I can. Probably not as spirited in my resistance as some other people, especially after a few hours of sitting here. I will practice non-violent resistance. I'm not going to put anyone's safety at risk to do that. So I'm just going to stay here as long as possible. You can hear country out here, it's really beautiful. Yeah, between the trains, between the hubbub, country breathes. You know, it's everywhere. Even when you're in the middle of the city, you can feel it, and you just got to stop and listen to the ancient law. Listen to the clapsticks or the music that came before you that kept the law. It's still there, reverberates, you know. And nothing's perfect. No system's perfect, but they kept law for 60,000 years. And we can do the same thing. We can listen to them. We can't do the same thing, excuse my tiredness. We can listen to them again, and we can give them the power again to keep law, to protect country. Please do your best to protect country as country protects you, because that's all any of us can do. Just give you a bit of a flash to the light show. Don't know what you can see there, a lot of light shining bright. I've charged it up a bit. I'm just going to unplug it. Put it out, people having a look, trying to work out their way to do things. Yeah. Not sure what I've done, but I can't see anything. Anyway, hope you can still see something interesting. I'll turn the camera around again, that's good. Let's turn it back. Yeah, I think they're bringing a ladder in, Emu, to join the tree sit. I think the police have worked out who the real criminals are. It's the climate criminals who continue to extract coal. So again, The UN reported just before the latest COP things that the minority world countries, the so-called developed countries, who are pretty developed in murder, theft and pillaging, so I call them minority world countries because we represent the 20% of the world who control 80% of the world's wealth that's extracted. We, what was I saying? 20% of the world's wealth is only controlled by 80% of the world's people. Thanks, Tim. Please share any good climate to show, because the real media isn't reporting on this. I mean, here we are, 4 people blockading the world's largest coal port for 15 hours, and you're not going to read about this in any mainstream news. But this is powerful acts of resistance, small tiny part of the history that's kept us all going. And it looks like the police are preparing to come join me to follow law of country. Maybe we need people following law more, that's for sure. There's a lot of activity happening below me. There's ladders coming up. I'm going to try and stay up here as long as possible, but yeah, I don't know how much resistance I've got. Done the resisting over the last few hours. I'm more compliant. I won't voluntarily go down, but I'm also not going to be rough because I do my best to keep everything safe. I feel like they've got a plan, Emu, but bit of a ladder. Yeah, so yeah, but it's brightened up the ground beneath us. We all could use a bit of brighten up, can't we, the way we're going? Climate collapse, blah blah blah, says Greta Thunberg. That's what we're all doing. The economic systems of places like so-called Australia are doing their best to destroy life rather than protect our home. And now life is at risk. Life itself is at risk, you know. The Great Permian Extinction was the last time 95% of life on Earth went extinct, and we're looking at something even more catastrophic than that now. So we have to do our best to resist the climate collapse. We have to do our best to resist the economic systems that are getting in the way. And if you're a Christian, like I am, I feel like you have an obligation that if you follow the teachings of Jesus, all things are possible through Christ. You can climb a tree too. You can stop the coal train for a few hours, going to the world's largest coal port, and actually have an economic impact. To be the sacrifice. Yeah. Thanks, Amy. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do anything. See how it plays out. Bit of extra light. I used to like lighting in drama. What's the statement the director's trying to say there? I blocked it then. Yeah, there we go. So we have to do our best to get in the way of 20 years until the oceans are... Sorry, that was just my foot you're on. 20 years. 20 years that our... I'm too tired to talk. 20 years we have left to protect our oceans. 20 years we have left, but we're going to need to stop climate collapse long before then. We got 3 to 4 years to stop. We need 0 emissions by 2025. Did you hear any political leader talking about that? No, because it's going to cost them too much money. But if we don't do it, it's going to cost us everything. So what choice do we have? What choice do we have but to climb trees in the middle of the night and do what resistance we can? If I'm going to follow Jesus as best I can, what can I do? I'm just going to keep saying no comment. I'm just going to stay here as long as I can. So that's a fair bit of production. Yeah, and there's other ways to make that money, Ingrid, too. And that's the thing, I mean, that money right now is taxpayer subsidised. So without Australian taxes, we can't do it. They wouldn't be making money. That's just the brutal truth of it. This is all paid for by your tax dollars. There's that cool lighting effect again. I'm like half man. The shadow side. Dance with your shadow side, said Carl Jung. So we have to do our best to get in the way of economic systems of collapse. We have to do our best to get in the way of the systems that are killing our planet. Oh, there's another interesting look. Oh, I used to love doing lighting and drama. Anyway. Non-violent direct action is the only thing we have left to get in the way And if you're a person of faith like me, it's a responsibility for you to do that. You shouldn't be leaving it to young ones like Greta Thunberg and the millions of others who are standing up. They should not be left with the emergency that our greed and our selfishness and our idleness has created, because that goes against everything that I've ever read in any faith or even atheist philosophy. So if you want to work for love, not money, if you want to build the kingdom of heaven here on earth, find a way to join a community resistance. I'm all up for a faith-based community resistance to join things like Blockade Australia. Funnily enough, not many Christians want to join it. They say that we're being too... criticisms of nonviolent direct action include that we're not being strategic and that we're being too in the face, creating more opposition. But opposition to death of creation, something I'm happy to be part of and something I feel led by the teachings of Jesus to be part of, even if it costs me my own freedom, my own life. Unfortunately, I still have those because people who, you know, did their best in previous incantations, in previous generations, won rights for me to be able to do this today, and I'm doing my best to protect those rights for people of the next generation. And right now we're doing our best to protect the rights. I'm going to do my best, but it's a bit unstable. Sorry, what was your name?
Andrew.
Hi, Andrew. I can move it up there at the moment. I'm a bit cramped, sorry.
What are you tied off to at the moment then?
I'm just tied up to the God rope at the moment.
The grab rope at the top?
The God rope, yeah, through the 8 on the top. So, yeah. So just the line that's going down the rail. Yeah.
Alright.
So we're doing that. So we're just doing our best. I know, Andrew, there's a safety risk here, but climate collapse is the biggest safety risk, unfortunately.
Right.
Doing this,
I'm worried about myself hanging off this line. So.
doing this is not something that I want to be doing. But sorry. Sorry, what do you need? I'm not going to give you a phone. You're just making it sway a bit, making it a bit unstable. So, yeah. Oh, they're just attached there, the hitch. Yeah. Just doing our best to avoid climate collapse and the end of life as we know it, and possibly all extinction. Due to increasing carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and that's being sucked up by our ocean. We've got 20 years until ocean acidity reaches below 7.9, and then that's going to sorry, what are you grabbing at there? You're just grabbing at me.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I'm having a look at what you're attached to.
Okay. So we have to do our best to get in the way of ecosystem collapse, do the best we can. And the only way we can do that is by non-violently resisting. I'm going to just try and move my foot up a bit so it's out of your way, Andrew. Is that okay? Yeah. Or would you rather it left there?
No, I'd rather it on my phone.
Yeah. I'm just going to move it up. It's all, sorry, I'm just a bit cramped. So we are in the middle of climate collapse. Ecosystems are at risk, and that's where we're at the moment. And it's forcing people like me, unfortunately, to sit in trees in the middle of the night and do my best to resist it. And this is just a small demonstration of non-violent direct action. So we have to do our best here to get in the way and do our best here. I'm happy to chat to you, Andrew. Yeah.
So our plan is, all we're going to do is tie off a line to the tree as high as I can get. Obviously, I'm restricted because you're blocking the main access.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to hook you up to our line, and then we'll get you to come down the ladder, because I'll start cutting everything else.
Sorry, so get down the...
Come down the ladder.
Okay.
If you're able to lower yourself on your stuff onto the ladder, we're happy for you to do that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, once I get my stuff hooked up, you're going to have a bit of a drop because I can't get much higher.
Going to have a bit of a drop?
Need a drop.
Okay.
But you're still going to be safe.
Yeah.
But it might be a bit uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So it's up to you if you just want to come down on your gear, onto the ladder, and then climb down the ladder with us.
Sorry.
Your call, man.
Yeah. I'm just going to stay a bit longer. Thanks,
right.
Andrew. Yeah. So just doing our best here to avoid climate collapse. Been up here a few hours and just doing my best. Again, this is not the sort of thing that I want to be doing. I'm just going to sign off from the live feed because I'm getting tired. Please do your best to resist. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon. That we're on